Oh, shut your mouth, lounge. Oh, what episode is it?
193, I want to say.
Oh, God. Addy,
Yes,
are you still Addy?
maybe.
Pink?
Still pink, hopefully.
Who's talking?
I mean, reminded.
Who said that?
Friend.
So I'll come back to this topic later, but I was going through some of our older videos, and in one of the episodes of the first season of The Forest, you know, the one that the two of you did together, the freaking one of theirs description is Eddie and Pink return to swim around the island, and I'm like, when was I in this? I don't remember contributing to the first season.
Oh, dude. I'm sure there are so many screw ups in video titles and descriptions like that. The dumbest one I ever did was like the second or third episode of the original run of Shut Your Mouth Lounge with Mike and Muda and all those guys.
Yeah.
I straight up, because I was listening to the Co-optional podcast at the time, just typed in the video's title as the Co-optional podcast episode 3.
Ah.
And what's worse is Mike also didn't notice. At that time, every time we uploaded a new episode, Mike updated the original thread post with the video link, title, and description. So it got So not only did I screw up, Mike just didn't notice and put it also in the main post.
Nice.
I don't know what else like that shit has happened to. Like, it's like that one fucking episode of Shut Your Mouth Lounge where, like, I uploaded it and then you checked and had to come and tell me, hey, Alex, there's no fucking audio on this one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a couple like that. The one I remember most recently was in Mango Samurai. We weren't getting recorded, so you're just spending like half an hour, not even half an hour. You're spending like, I don't know, 3 hours talking with yourself, and at one point you just start doing a Dutch impression, going, "Oh, the mangoes, Arthur."
Well, yeah, that's why I didn't sound crazy enough before that. Arthur! Oh!
We have to go to Tahiti. They have all of the mangoes.
I need Micah's dick, Arthur. I need it. Oh, man.
I've come to make an announcement on my Twitter.com. Arthur Morgan is a bitch ass motherfucker. He pissed on Micah. Micah!
No. What you need to do is, do it with Micah making that rant about Arthur.
Yeah.
Black Lung got his dick out and he said it was this big. And I said, that's disgusting. He said his dick was this big, boy.
Anyway. Think, is anything coming out on your channel?
Probably got some Dead by Daylight coming out.
Dead by Daylight or Left 4 Dead? I was surprised you guys recorded that.
It was actually recorded quite a while ago. I just had it on my computer and I figured I didn't need it anymore, so I was gonna upload it and then just delete it. And it was supposed to be a thing where we all recorded and we had the multiple angle episode come out on the main channel or the community channel.
Yeah, what happened
that was supposed to happen. It didn't.
Yeah, what
happened? Apparently never uploaded to the drive.
Yeah, what happened was all three of us recorded our points of view for that session. Then Pink was unable to upload his point of view to the drive 4 separate times, and Goku recorded it in 1080p 60 lossless, so it was 50 gigs. And I was like, Goku, you know what? Let's not. Knowing Goku's internet, it would have taken him a month to upload that. and I didn't want to freaking tell him, yo Goku, we're doing this hobby YouTube channel thing. Spend a whole month with your PC turned on, uploading one file.
Yeah.
So
for a video that will be watched by us and one person who accidentally clicks on it.
yeah. So I was like, all right, Goku, just delete. Like literally after we finished, Pink left, and I was like, okay, Goku, check your file to see if everything worked. That's how we found out that it was like 54 gigs for the 1 hour that we recorded, and I was like, okay, Goku, delete that. Here's the settings you should set up so that in the future it won't be 54 gigs. And then that's where we are right now.
Oh, man. How was it playing with someone who has actually played Left 4 Dead semi-recently? Because I think I pointed this out when we were... He what?
He carried us.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I pointed out, like, when I was playing with you guys and Mike, like, there was a time where I was really good at Left 4 Dead. That was 10 fucking years ago. Oh, man. All right. Yeah, you've also been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight lately. Has anything changed about that?
Not really. Not that I'm aware of.
Anything else?
Nothing else is coming out on my channel. What's coming out on Addy's channel?
Well, on my channel, nothing's coming out. I have started
How dare
scripting.
you.
Now, Addy, you asked me what's coming out on mine.
I have started scripting a video, but like 2 weeks ago, actually, I had an injury that affected like my 2 middle fingers on my left hand.
You wrestled Brock Lesnar?
Yes, Brock Lesnar broke 2 of my fingers, so I couldn't type for 2 weeks. and so the scripting had to be delayed until I could be at a point where just typing doesn't hurt anymore.
Yeah.
That's a video development is on my end. All right, W, what's on your channel?
On my channel, still fuck all unless... Okay, so this Tuesday is going to be the 31st, right?
I think so.
Let me check real quick. I feel that's right. Yes, that is correct.
There is virtually no chance that Crib Assembly will release the Total War Warhammer 3 Cathay trailer this week. They have confirmed that the next one coming down the pipe is the Cathay trailer, but they said that they are waiting until sometime in September after the hype cycle for this big Troy update ends. Which, have I told you that they have finally done this update's finally going to do to Total War Troy what me and Soon have always wanted it to do?
No.
Which it is, it's just straight up going full fantasy. They're releasing an update that it's a DLC that adds 3 big-ass monsters of the game, as well as two whole new game modes. Because the game right now, which is exclusive to Epic, and with this September 3rd, with the release of this DLC, they're adding it to Steam. But right now, they go for what they call truth behind the myth, which you remember soon showed pictures of, like, oh, the Minotaur was actually just a dude on bath salts wearing fur.
Right.
So
the Cyclops was just a guy wearing a mammoth skull as a helmet, and so on. And it was very, very stupid. Well, they're releasing on Steam with a new DLC called the Mythos DLC, which is an entire overhaul that adds 2 new game modes. One is called just straight up Historical Mode, which gets rid of all that silly nonsense and also makes it where, like, the individual generals like Achilles and Theseus, well, not Theseus, Achilles and Odysseus are no longer one-man armies, but instead have, like, whole units of bodyguards behind them. Getting rid of all the silly fictional elements, basically. And the straight-up Mythos mode, where not only are the generals still crazy one-man armies, but not only do they add 3 new monsters in the form of the Griffin, the Hydra, and the Cerberus, they also take all of the old goofy, like, the Minotaur is just a man on bath salts units and turn them into the actual proper mythological things. It's no longer a man on bath salts, it's an actual fucking Minotaur going around and killing and eating people.
Nice.
So what me and Soon were saying they should have just done from the fucking beginning.
Right.
either which way, that's going to be coming out on the 3rd. If I had internet, I'd be buying it and downloading it and playing it and having lots of fun with it, but I don't have internet. So, whoopee-doo. And on the off chance that, like, pretty well, like, if Creative Assembly breaks its usual pattern, because Creative Assembly usually likes, after a release, to give, like, a week of breathing room. They don't want their own products to, like, overlap each other and siphon each other's life force, I guess, their marketing force. So, if Creative Assembly will release the Cathay trailer at some point in September, but they're not going to do it in the first week after Troy, almost certainly. So I almost certainly have nothing coming out this week, though I am still saving up megabytes out of my limited data plan here, so that as soon as the Cathay trailer drops, I can record my reaction to it and release it, because I am certainly going to get all different flavors of hype. Because I've talked about this before, I think you guys have been unfortunate enough to have to listen to me ramble about how over the moon excited I am for the possibility, and now the inevitable truth, which we've not got to see yet, but I'm still incredibly hyped for, of Total War Warhammer 3 expanding the Warhammer universe into the Far East, which Cathay is almost certainly the first step that will lead to End of Nippon, and we will get samurai fighting orcs. Fuck yeah. So if that comes out, if like the moon's fucking align and Creative Assembly loses their goddamn minds and decide to change their entire plan and drop the Cathay trailer sometime this week, you can expect that. However, that's almost certainly not going to happen. So don't expect anything unless like a satellite fucking falls into my front yard this week. Which, by the way, I didn't.
Yeah, go ahead.
I did want to go ahead and mention. I wanted to mention it before the podcast, but I forgot. Apparently, what's going on with the whole Elon Musk situation is that on August 24th, the CEO chick said that the reason it's taking so long for them to get the next ones rolled out, which we are part of, is that they want to like set up what they call laser crosslink, which I assume is meaningless bullshit, on the satellites. And their expectation was that the satellites would launch 3 weeks from that day. That was August 24th. So the expectation currently is that they're shooting for September 14th to get those satellites up in orbit, at which point they'll ask us, hey, fucker, the satellites are in orbit, send us another $500 and we'll send a satellite dish out to your asses.
All right.
And supposedly that delivery is the fastest part of it. Like, it's like a day or two. And like, supposedly as soon as you get the satellite out of your house and you get it plugged into the coaxial for your house, it's like just... like the dish looks around in the sky and is like, oh, satellite detected. There you go. And you have internet.
Well, let's hope it'll be that easy.
From what we've seen, it is that easy, yes.
All right.
It's difficult to say, because Elon Musk is a huckster, but at the same time, he's not the only person at SpaceX, you know?
Yeah. They had to delay the freaking thing for that cross-linking so that they can... Elon Musk is searching for the Blaze Blue.
I was about to say, because Elon sucked a bit of money out of the budget for the dank Kush.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that weird shit where Elon was like super into some weird anime thing a while ago? It wasn't Blaze Blue, was it?
I didn't hear about it. The last actual news, I guess, quote unquote actual news I've heard of Elon Musk was that he went on Joe Rogan's podcast to try out weed for the first time. And
of course made that meme picture.
Yeah. And that's about it, because like just after that, most of what I've heard about Elon Musk is people going, oh, Elon Musk is God, and then other people going, oh, Elon Musk sucks dicks. And then that going back and forth. And I just don't really care.
People!
Yeah. Why can't Elon Musk be a god at sucking dick?
Yeah.
I he gets real ready with his neck. Anyway.
Oh boy. What was I going to say? I don't remember if I was going to say anything.
You were going to ask what's coming out on the channel, Eddie.
Yes, I was going to do that. My mind is going.
So, what's coming out on the channel is the speedrun Pink and I did of Strider on Monday.
Oh, did you run speedily?
Not really. I mean,
Oh.
it's nearly 5 hours, so you decide. But yeah, that.
We are world record holders at the moment.
Well, unofficially, I never made it official because there's too like.
I love Pink turning that into Wii.
Yeah.
I contributed. I was
Yeah,
present.
Pink was there. Pink did keep time and also talk about Palmolive. So.
You know, when you think about it, I was in the audience when Rock versus Hogan. So really, I'm a record holder for so and such.
I played a massive role in that Rock vs Hogan match. You know.
You blinded Hogan, especially if he won. I don't even remember. But yeah, like, I never submitted that run because there was, like, for whatever reason, the recording came out all, like, choppy. And it was to a point where if someone submitted that to me to verify, I wouldn't verify it. So I was like, whatever, I don't care. Like, it was...
I was literally cheating every other second, and the choppiness is just me editing it poorly.
But, like...
man.
And like, it wasn't a proper, like, serious run anyway. We just did it so we could say, hey, we did a speed run. It was fun. But like, I didn't freaking like actually get ready for the run properly, the way you're supposed to and all that. I was just like, okay, so this is how you actually have like the splits, you know, the chapters basically on the side. This is how you set that up. Well, I'm gonna need an overlay, so I made one 15 minutes before the stream started. And then freaking I probably gave more care and attention to making sure that the overlay and everything on the screen just looked presentable than I did about the actual run, because I'm not like, I can be okay at video games if I really try, but I don't like, you know, I know my limits, and speedrunning ain't the thing that I'm really made for. But yeah, so we have that on Monday. Then, on Wednesday, I want to say, we have episode 25 of Fighting Games R. Speaking of BlazBlue.
Yes!
So, Pink.
Yeah.
That recording was a bit over 2 hours long. An hour of that, I think, like at least half an hour, but I think it was a full hour of that, went to me trying to describe the BlazBlue roar to W. And it is very stupid.
Yeah. Well, that said, we should absolutely introduce Pink to BlazBlue just because he would love 9.
Yeah, I told Pink while we were drawing recently that, like, I don't know if he'd like BlazBlue because it does have a lot of big titty women. At the same time, most of the characters are kind of annoying. And then I don't know. Yeah?
I said kind of.
I mean, it's a spectrum of annoyance. It starts in the middle somehow, but it is a spectrum still. Like there is no real not annoying characters, but it starts in the middle of like tolerable characters and it just goes downhill.
Oh god, here goes these.
Bless you.
There we go.
Bless you.
Thank you. Oh boy, man, it is. It's been a real week for allergies on my end, I gotta say. Jesus Christ.
Ah, that's really nice.
Yep.
Allergies are cool and hip. But yeah, on Friday. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, just finish. Go ahead and finish up with the schedule talks.
All right. So on Friday, the next episode of Ratchet and Clank is coming out. By the way, oh wait, whatever. We'll come back to that. It sort of ties to this, but we can just come back to it later. So on Saturday, there's a special video coming out. It's not really special. I mean, it's just another drawing video, but we draw wrestlers and mine turned out particularly stinky. Pink's is good.
Oh,
I mean, you've seen it, Dabia.
have I?
Yes, you have. You were asking why
Okay.
you were asking why Pink drew Raiden from KOF.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I remember that. Yes, okay. That
Yeah.
makes sense now.
Yeah, so that's coming out on Saturday. And that's the week.
All right. All right, then, Pink, what have you been up to this past week?
What have I been up to? Let's see. First off, from what I can remember, I watched SummerSlam, which I believe happened this past Saturday.
I wouldn't
I
believe
think
that I
that's
actually
correct.
watched some wrestling this past week as well.
Oh my! Oh my! Yeah, SummerSlam. It was summery. It had a lot of slams.
I don't believe that back part. I,
Uh,
I imagine it was a lot of wrestlers gumming at each other, though.
it was an all right SummerSlam. As far as SummerSlams go, not the greatest one. I've said it multiple times in the past. SummerSlam is the wrestling show of the year, whereas WrestleMania is the entertainment one. This
Yeah.
one felt a little bit less like the wrestling parts were taken seriously. It, I don't know how to describe it. It didn't feel like a typical SummerSlam, but again, nothing's felt typical since probably January of 2020. So whatever.
Yep.
Um, a lot of matches I enjoyed. A lot of matches I felt didn't need to be on the card. Why is Eva Marie still hired? Why did we rehire her? So can I point out with that story on Raw that they brought Eva Marie back and then they had her tagging with somebody else? It out of nowhere, and it didn't even last
Just
a
to make
week.
her look, just to make them look bad, or
I don't know what the thing is because the story has been Eva Marie returns and she has a tag partner, and they started breaking up the very next week. It's like Vince wanted to do a breakup storyline, but he didn't see a tag team in the allotted amount of time he was able to wander backstage, where he had to get back on his machine of immortality. So
I've always thought Vince likes breakups better than he likes tag teams. You know,
he does. He absolutely does. That's why every tag team ever. I mean, just this last week on Raw, Miz and Morrison, they're broken up now.
oh, for God's sakes!
Yeah.
Well, Morrison's quitting again.
Might as well. Honestly, if he's not tagging with Miz, he's got really nowhere else to go, in my opinion. I mean, honestly, he's been the most entertaining I've ever found him in his entire career this past couple of years with the Miz. But take that away, and I just don't see any reason for him to stick around. I don't want to watch him without the Miz.
Morrison is not a guy who is very good on the mic or very personalityful.
No.
The trouble
Miz
is
helps tenfold with that.
Yeah, because Miz is like 1,000. Miz is probably the most personality-filled wrestler in the last 20 years.
Yeah, they gave him his own reality show.
Yes,
just because of that.
The trouble is that every time, Morrison's, I always say about the Spider-Man villain Sin Eater, right? Is that someone thinks, oh my god, that is such a cool concept, that is such a cool name, that is such a cool costume, get this guy in the comics now. And they start writing him, and they're like, well, this character kind of sucks. John Morrison is the kind of wrestler where they have him doing work where he can do stuff, where he has someone else carry him like Miz, and they're like, oh my god, this guy is so fucking sexy, and he can do flips. Oh my god, we got to get this guy pushed for a solo title. And they get him up there, and they're like, wow, he kind of sucks.
Yep.
He's trapped in the endless loop of sin eating.
That is a very apt comparison right there.
What I will say, though, is at least comic book characters are effectively unlimited potential so long as you have the right writer behind them. There are only a few characters like 8-Ball who are just so genuinely stupid there's nothing you can do.
Right.
Like, I guarantee if they put Sin Eater in the MCU at some point, they can redeem him. Whereas John Morrison is a person who cannot be shifted that much by a writer.
Right. There's only so much the writers can do. The rest of it is on the person as an individual, and individually, we all know Morrison is not the most talented guy in all those regards.
Yep.
Then just we cannot Bernie's him.
Peel his skin off and put it over Miz. Hey, Pink, you've been seeing a lot of Pinhead lately. Just Hellraiser 1, John Morrison. Have you looked into the original Hellraiser now that Pinhead's there?
I've looked into it, yeah.
Yeah, Pinhead's not the villain of the first Hellraiser at all.
Oh.
Yeah, he just shows up near the end. And it's like, hey, can you deal with my douchebag fucking uncle who has murdered my father and stolen his skin?
Yep.
And Pinhead's like, don't worry, girl, I got you.
It's freaking weird, man.
Yeah, that's Pinhead. That's part of what's cool about Pinhead, though, is he's not like Jason or Michael, right? Where he's just like evil. Like, no, Pinhead's just alien, you know? He just operates on his own logic.
Yeah.
Like, I think it honestly is just like, what it is, how they handle it in the movie is she opens up the puzzle box to summon Pinhead, and of course, you know, Pinhead, you opened the box, I came! Which
right.
Very quickly becoming a meme.
Yep.
And Pinhead tells her, every time the box gets opened, I gotta take someone back for, you know, fun, sexy times. So, girl, you gotta come back with me. But the main chick is like, actually, how about instead you take my dipshit uncle, who you already took before, but he got away? And Pinhead's like, what? Hey, thanks for the tip. Anyways, continue.
Continue with SummerSlam. Oh, yes. By far and away, my favorite match of the night, though I am biased because it's like two of my all-time favorites in the ring, would be Rollins and Edge. I thought they had a great match. I thought it was match of the night. I don't think anything else on that entire show really compared to it. Lashley and Goldberg was not the train wreck I was expecting.
Oh boy,
that's very good though.
Yeah, I was about to say that's not high praise.
No, my favorite part is at the end. I don't remember what
when it ended.
Yeah, when it ended, and Lashley put Goldberg's son in a full Nelson. It was great. Yeah.
They're doing the fucking Dominic angle?
Yeah.
Oh god.
They're gonna paint Goldberg's son black and then say that Lashley was his father.
They're gonna Jason Jordan him. You know, it took a lot to make the Dominic Mysterio angle look not so. Like, it takes a lot to outdumb that, but man, Kurt Angle being Jason Jordan's father, I don't know if they could ever make anything dumber.
Speaking of Dominic Mysterio, he exists.
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah, we can talk about him when we get to my week, I guess.
All right. I know they had a tag match on the show. I just, for the life of me, don't remember what they did. Oh, I think they lost the tag titles to the Usos.
No, I think they tried to secure the tag titles from the Usos and failed for the second month in a row.
No, I'm pretty sure they were tag champions going into it, because I want to say they were tag champs in the build-up for Edge and Roman as well, because they had a big 6-man tag.
Hang on, are we saying Ray and Dominic were tag champions?
They were.
Get the fuck out.
I wish.
Oh my fucking god. Okay, just skipping ahead to my week a little bit, but did you see this week's SmackDown?
I've not seen this week's SmackDown because it airs on Fridays now, right?
Yes, it does.
Yes. So I would have been very much asleep at the time it was airing.
Yeah, I watched it for like the first time I've watched wrestling in fucking years. And watching Dominic, for like, of course, immediately is just me laughing because it's fucking Dominic.
Right.
And then kind of cringing because they're expecting us to take him seriously as a wrestler when Dominic has the worst baby face imaginable.
Right.
But oh my god, at one point he was supposed to do the 619 to Sami Zayn, who looks like a fucking hobo now, by the way.
He is. That's his gimmick. He's a conspiracy hobo.
And, oh god. But the bit was supposed to be that he goes for the 619 and Sami Zayn gets out of the way, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's a classic bit, and like his legs will sweep him through the ropes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It didn't look like that. You know that old move in the wrestling games where you kind of they go and do a hip drop on the back of the guy's head while he's on the second rope like that?
Yeah.
And they just slide right through the ropes and end up on the outside of the ring?
Right.
Yeah, Dominic kind of did that, but he never even fucking grabbed the rope and smacked the back of his head on the corner of the ring as hard as possible, and just flat out on the ground, like holding his head. And it was the dumbest fucking botch of a miss anyways. And I was like, holy fucking shit, does that look stupid? Even if Sami Zayn didn't dodge out of the way.
Right. How do you recover from that on either side? Because if the spot is Sammy ducks the 619, you're kind of supposed to swing like you're going to hit the 619 anyway, and you have to rely on Sammy to actually be moving out of the way. Because if Sammy botches, he's getting hit in the head, and it'll be fine. You can recover from that. If you're just diving through the ring, thinking, oh, okay, Sammy might not move, let me screw up the move anyways, because, you know, we gotta make this a spot somehow. That doesn't make sense. Why are you screwing up the move intentionally? Because you know it's Sammy who's got to be the one avoiding the maneuver in the first place. There's no reason for him to not grab the ropes and perform it normally. Why did he dive like an idiot?
The biggest mistake they've made is that they tried to give him raise moves, and obviously that's not in his blood. He needs to start doing the frog splash and the gory bomb.
Right?
That would be awesome. Okay, I've got to ask a question. Why the fuck are Ray and Dominic still allowed to do the 619, regardless of how dangerous or not it is? When people now think of it as, oh, you mean that move that killed that fucking guy in Mexico?
Right. That's a good question. I think it's a thing where not a lot of people are aware of it, honestly. Because it didn't happen on a grand stage. That was...
And
I don't know that. I don't remember if it happened in CMLL. It might have been more newsworthy had it been. I think it was actually part of a Lucha Underground thing, but I don't remember. Because, oh lordy, that was years ago. 2015, maybe? 2016 at the latest?
Lucha Underground was here on the stage, wasn't it? Wasn't it on Netflix or something?
It's only on Netflix in the recent years. Because Lucha Underground has been on hiatus for about... if I had to guess, at most 5 years, at least 3. Because that started up in the early 2014, I would hazard a guess. And it debuted on the El Rey Network, but only in California and maybe Nevada or any of those states closer to the Mexican border.
Oh, alright.
So, yeah. I'm actually not sure if it got a actual kind of national syndication, because I'm pretty sure way back when it first started, it was like, oh yeah, you can totally watch this on the El Rey Network if you live in California.
Yeah,
maybe 1 or 2 other places, but that's it. I was like, okay, that's interesting. Brand new promotion available in 1 state. I got high hopes for them. I wonder how that'll turn out.
I'm reminded of that one like 80s song, Mexican Radio, I think it was called.
I've never heard of it.
Nor have I.
it's like a British alternative song, I think. I don't remember what the proper like classification of it was, but basically the entire lyrics are how people in the UK, I think, it's either America or UK, I forget, but whatever. English speaking people would buy these FM transmitters, and then they would transmit on frequencies that could only be picked up in Mexico, because then it wasn't like then their pirate radios were technically less illegal, I think, or something like that. And yeah, that whole song is about how some people got big off of being played in Mexico through the pirate radios.
Huh.
Nifty.
But yeah, I remember we were watching SmackDown last night. My parents asked, like, "Wow, so Dominic just went through NXT that quickly?" And I said, what I said to him was, "Guys, I think Ray told Vince, hey, you want Mexican ratings? Bring me back, but you have to bring my kid with me." That I wanted to give the kid a shot, but he sucks. He sucks bad.
No, he's not good. And it genuinely it is a wonder that he is allowed on live, well, not live anymore, on television, the main programming. Because how was he able to bypass NXT or any developmental type system at all? I mean, at the very least, have him
Because Ray has that much swing.
contact. But yeah, that's
Ray
a
is
lot
that
of swing,
valuable to
apparently.
Mexican ratings.
Because
Apparently.
Ray did a lot of steroids, and then Vince looked at him without a shirt on and had got a hard one.
Ray is not doing steroids anymore.
Yeah,
And
not
it's
anymore.
obvious.
Not anymore.
He is so tiny. It's like he stops to. It's like as soon as he stops sticking needles in his ass, he just shrunk.
I mean, it's probably better for his knees.
The best thing for Ray's knees would be to stop fucking wrestling.
The year is 2050. Rey Mysterio got both of his legs amputated and replaced with cybernetic and freaking prosthetics so that he can still do the 619 and also blow people's heads off now because it's fucking hydraulics.
Ray is now walking around on shotguns.
Yes.
I love it.
Ray gets a prosthetic like the Scotsman in Samurai Jack.
Yeah. Ray will die one day and his ghost will come back and wrestle in the ring like the Scotsman.
Yeah.
With an army of his children. Oh man, that Samurai Jack final season was fucking nuts. Oh boy! All right, anything else, Bank?
Anything else? I know I did something else this week. I finished part 2 of season 3 of My Hero. I think that's the right corresponding seasons and parts.
Yeah.
So this was the season part, etc., where they got their not preliminary. What's the word? I don't remember. They're sort of hero licenses, but not really, is what I'll call them, because that other word escapes me. This arc dragged. It freaking dragged, man. It took me several weeks to actually finish it, because I just didn't ever feel like returning to it. It was, very too long, didn't make a whole lot of sense, even just from a canonical standpoint. Because the first season, it has a stupid little, Olympic type games, which makes sense in lore. This hero license stuff didn't make sense in lore. There's no way I could make any sense of it, and it's just terribly boring because it's just, okay, here's a couple hundred people all doing battle and whatnot. Oh, and then we're doing a civilian hostage / etc. Rescue and protect, etc. And it's just like, okay, you got a lot of stuff going on the television right here, and it's all boring. And I don't care about any of it. Can we carry on?
Yep.
And then it eventually ended, and like the episode after that arc finished, it was just a complete breath of fresh air because that arc was just bad. I would not recommend.
Has Deku started going to All Might's Master yet?
Yes, that happened in the previous season.
Ah, okay. Then I'm mixing something up, but because I feel like I quit around the time that they needed to get their licenses, but I don't remember how far along the actual arc was. I just remember that it started dragging on, or near the beginning of season 3, and the series was still coming out at that point, so I would have needed to wait like weeks for the next episode,
Right.
or at least a week. And if it was that arc, then you can figure out why I dropped the entire series. Like yeah, go ahead.
Part 1 of season 3 wasn't bad. I can definitely see that it would be kind of a drag, especially if you were watching it live and in color. But that is not the part that turned me off. It was part 2, which just drug on for ages. And if I had been watching that on a weekly basis, I definitely would have stopped until the next couple of seasons, honestly, because it was boring. And it focused a lot on characters I didn't like or care about, rather. So I was rather uninterested, and I was just kind of watching it to get it out of the way so I could move on to better things. And eventually that happened. It's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. Let's see. That was more or less it. Oh, I watched the probably late, middle, and end of a movie called, what was it called? She's All That, which had a lot of actors that I recognized, but as I walked in and was watching it with my family, I was like, I recognize a lot of these actors, and yet I have no idea what we're watching because I had never seen the movie before.
I don't know if I've ever heard of it.
It is probably a later 90s movie that features Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah, the only Freddie Prinze Jr.'s movies I know are Scooby-Doo and I Knew What You Did Last Summer.
Yep, that's what I'm best known for as well. I don't know if it was...
I'm going to assume there wasn't a talking dog in this one.
No, there was not, unfortunately.
Okay, that narrows it down a bit. Did Jack Black get killed by a man with a hook hand in this one?
No, as far as I'm aware, Jack Black did not feature in this film.
But we can't rule it out yet?
We can't rule it out. You can never rule that out.
You may have been watching What I Know What You Did Last Summer then.
I like this idea that Jack Black adds himself retroactively to movies.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue, Pink.
I don't even know how to continue. I didn't have a lot else to say about that. I just wanted to know that, hey, I recognize a lot of actors and didn't know what I was watching. Then I knew what I was watching after everyone told me, and I'd never seen it before. It wasn't bad.
All right, we'll get you your gold star sticker. Everyone in class, clap.
Yeah! I'm moving up in the
Recognize
world!
the faces!
It had like Foggy Nelson from Daredevil and
Oh no.
yeah, that dude. Yeah. And Gus from Psych. And I watched a lot of Psych. So I recognize him instantly. He should be in more things, honestly. He was great in Holes. Holes is a good movie.
I was about to say, I don't think of him as Gus from Psych. I think of him as the carpenter from Holes.
Right?
And that's one of those movies, you know, when I watched it as a kid, I was like, man, why'd they kill him? And now as an adult, I'm like, oh. Yeah, that movie changed. Yeah. Oh, boy. Shit. Okay. Makes sense now.
Right?
I had that experience again. Like I don't know why, but I looked up old Source filmmaker, Gary's Mod animation from back in like 2010, I don't know if Addie's ever seen it. Have you ever seen Heavy's Birthday, Addie?
I don't think so.
Well, there's a scene where the Heavy goes to like a Walmart to buy a key to open a crate. And he goes there and he buys a key and he gets to the checkout line. And we see that at the top, like near the checkout line, there is like guard towers with SWAT like guys from Counter-Strike there in the middle of a fucking Walmart. And they're just looking down through sniper scopes at the checkout aisles. And they see Heavy buying a key and they're like, okay, whatever. They look to the right and they see the spy like whipping out a condom and like hitting on the chick at the cashier. They're like, okay. And they move the scope over a little bit. They see a bunch of terrorists from Counter-Strike buying a literal fucking boatload of guns and bombs and shit. And they're like, oh, okay. Then they look over and they see Demo Man just buying a box of Skittles. And they lose their shit and just start shooting all over the place and fucking blowing up everything. And as a kid, I was like, haha, it's so funny. They ignore the terrorists but go for the guy buying the box of Skittles. Now as an adult, I understand, oh, the joke is the cops are racist and single out the Demo Man because he's black. So yeah, that's one of those things about watching stuff again as an adult, you know?
Right. I like Skittles. Skittles are pretty good.
The great line is when the SWAT officer looks at him, the SWAT officer says, the suspect has a weapon. And the SWAT officer next to him just suddenly goes, and some Skittles. Oh, man. What were we talking about? Right, this movie, yes.
Right, that movie. I don't have a lot of big opinions on it because, like I said, I came in on the middle later half, so it was definitely a movie. It seemed like your very standard run of the mill '90s teen comedy movies, so not a lot going on there.
Yeah.
I definitely liked him better as Fred. Not gonna lie. And I think that would wrap up my week because I have no recollection of anything else I did.
All right, Addy, what's up?
All right, let's see. Well, I spent most of this morning, freaking doing administrative work on the channel.
Yeah.
So now there's actual playlists for some of our playthroughs, including the Ratchet and Clank and Strider ones that are going on right now. I mean, the Strider one isn't going to be happening for a lot longer, but you know. That I also went back and because it bothers me that because the YouTube algorithm sees saw the word co-op in the casual co-op videos. It assumed, oh well, obviously that means they're actually playing together or whatever, and so it recommended those videos next to actual proper multiplayer videos, and it felt a bit like false advertising, even though we didn't do it on purpose. So I went back and edited 110 videos titles to remove Kasha Scope from the channel.
In hindsight, we could have chosen a better title for it.
Yes.
It was alliteration, which just sounded nice, and most titles I come up with sound nice, so I was just like, fuck it, good enough.
But yeah, so I did that. That took me like an hour to go through all 110 videos that were labeled that, and then freaking I also updated the way the titles were structured to fit the modern one closely, or more closely, I guess, compared to the old one, because the old one didn't really make sense with if there's no proper series title.
Yeah.
And there's only, I think, 2 places, maybe 3. I don't remember. No. I remember one spot that still has casual scope in it that I may need to remove or not. I don't know yet. But one of the scribble notes descriptions has casual scope in the description, and that may still point to that video if people try to search for coop or whatever. and that means that, and for whatever reason, if you type something into the description box, then that also gets picked up when people search for things. So I may need to remove that. I don't know yet, and yeah, I'm gonna have to freaking wait and see the stats on that so I can proceed accordingly. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Did I do anything else regarding the channel's administration? I don't think so. If one of y'all would want to, I would gladly just tell you about whenever people comment under the videos, so we can actually have a person replying. By the way, because I can't.
Oh, I have no problem doing that. I can, yeah.
All right, then.
I'm a great PR guy.
All right, then I guess whenever we get a comment that actually looks like a person, then I'll just freaking tell you all about it.
All right.
But yeah, so I did that. As I've told Pink last week, I spent a lot of this week and last week as well, but this week too, just doing audio engineering stuff for my mom, because the people at my school where she works were like, you uploaded a freaking video of you singing once, so how about having an entire like concert unpaid? And because she feels that we're indebted to them, which I don't know, but because she feels indebted to them, she was like, okay, I guess I'll do a concert, and now I have to do audio engineering work on her singing. I have no clue how audio engineering works, by the way.
It's screwed up that she's in that position, but you do have to admit you don't have a job.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is though that she could have just told them no. Like it's not like yeah.
If she's going to have fun with it, that's the thing, right?
I don't know. It doesn't look like she will. That's the thing. Like she's. My mom has a lot of the same issues that I have actually. Somehow, like we ended up at similar conclusions through different means, but I know for a fact that I'm the one that gave her like whatever disorder gives you panic attacks. And
did you give it to her or her give it to you?
I gave it to her because
what?
Yeah, so what happened was because of that disorder developed in her because of me having seizures because I was epileptic.
Oh, okay. I was like thinking in terms of like genetics. I was about to say, Eddie, that's not how it works.
Yeah, no, I don't know how it developed in me, because I don't think it's a genetic thing in me either. But for her, I know that the reason she has a disorder is because of my epileptic seizures.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, she's been getting to the point. Like she's been really stressed out over it and all that. It just doesn't seem like she's having fun, really, with the whole ordeal. Which is why, like, that's my thing. Like, I would gladly help her with shit like this if she wanted to do it. But it doesn't seem like she wants to do it. It seems like she feels like she has to, which is not true, because I know the people she works with, and they're not the kind like. The school is not the freaking bloody hell words. Basically, the private school I went to, is pretty much like a safe haven for those teachers, more or less. Like most of them have jobs in other schools as well, and basically the private school I went to is their place where they can teach freaking without people breathing down their necks. So it's a very relaxed freaking working environment and all that, which I know partially because I technically worked with them as a freaking video guy.
Yeah.
And they, like, you know, they're not the kind of people who, if she said no to doing this concert, then she would have been fired. Is my thing.
Well, maybe she wants to do it because they're like that.
Maybe.
Yeah, when people do things, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're afraid of the consequences of if they don't do it. Sometimes people just do things because they want to do things for other people, you know?
Yeah, but like the way she's been talking about it is the thing that sets me off about it. Because like she didn't really talk when she told us about this whole thing happening. It didn't really sound like she wanted to do it, and she like freaking words. Like it just doesn't seem like fucking hell. I can't speak. All right, Eddie. Let's actually try and make actual fucking sentences people can understand, eh?
Eh,
But yeah,
it happens.
like she's pretty much told us that she doesn't want to do it. Is my thing, and that she pretty much freaking like she feels like she has to do it, so she will, because how would it like the phrase she says whenever we told her about why she didn't just say no was like, well, how would it look if she said no? And I don't know how would it like.
I mean, just because you feel like you should do something doesn't mean you want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
If charity work was easy and felt good, everyone would be doing it.
I don't know about that. I feel like there's plenty of people who, even if it were easy and felt good, then freaking they would still not do it because it takes up time or whatever.
Well, if it's easy, then it won't take up that much time. I say.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's just,
I mean, you understand what I mean? Even if I mean, if the bad parts of charity work were not there, then people would do it. Is what I'm just basically throwing that out. I'm not like trying to look for specifics here.
but yeah, I know. I'm just saying that the human nature to me, like the human nature doesn't strike me as inherently charitable, even if it's very easy.
I think that your average everyday person likes to think of themselves as a good person.
Like to think of themselves, yeah. Yeah.
It's that being a genuinely good person is inconvenient.
Yeah.
Then remember the people who want to be considered by other people as a considerate person. So that's another big part of the charity thing where, oh yeah, everyone would be doing it if it were easy. And you could show a lot of people that you're being charitable. But if not...
I mean, to me, the thing with charity is, and people going like, oh well, I donate this much and that much to charity and whatever. Like, charity work stops being charity.
But see, there again, the donation part is the easy part.
And I mean, even then, Pink, charity work stops being charity work if you tell other people about it. Then you're not doing it to help people. You're doing it so that you can say, oh well, I help people. No, you fucking don't. You're trying to make a bottom line for yourself to fall back on. Like, it's different. Like, I view it as a different thing when like organizations do fundraisers for charity, for other organizations that are charity or whatever. Like, you know, when like, I'm not saying that people like the Yogscasts, whatever, or like Wine Sauce or whoever else may be raising money for charity. Like, I'm not saying that they are charlatans because they do because they use their platform to help with the charity. They are using their platform to help the charity, but at the same time, like, they're not doing it as like single persons. They're doing it as an organization. If Vine Sauce Vinny was like did something shitty and went, oh well, I donated freaking $300,000 to charity, then he would be an asshole.
Yeah.
But not at all. Like, I don't like he not only does he not strike me as the kind of guy who would do that, especially since like even their most recent charity thing was like last week or something like that, and he did actually do a stream, which is uncharacteristic for him now. But he closed it out saying, oh well, I don't give to charity, you give to charity, I'm just making it easier for you to give to charity. So, you know.
I'm an asshole who farts into the mic, and that somehow convinces you to give to charity.
Yeah. Like that shit I'm fine with, because you're providing entertainment in freaking, like, you're basically making it a deal that you provide entertainment to people so that people can give to good. But if someone just donates a part of their wealth to an organization just to say that they have done that, then they're probably not doing it just like, they're not doing it out of their goodwill.
No, of course not.
But anyway, so yeah, I've been freaking doing that audio engineering stuff without having any knowledge, and it's been a lot of fun, as you would imagine.
Yeah.
Like, W, imagine editing a video, but like 5 times harder.
Yeah. I want nothing to do with it.
Neither do I, but I have to.
Yep.
So that, and then what else did I do? Well, I drew a couple things. One of which is I followed up on one of the drawing thing, one of the pictures from the drawing series that we do. If I can find it. Oh right, it's not in this thing. So yeah, Pink and I recently did a video which will come out next week, I think, next week's Saturday. But Pink and I did a video trying to redesign Waluigi to fit in with Kingdom Hearts.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because we ran out of ideas. And we needed something. But so I drew Nigel Thornberry during that video.
Oh, you mean my main in the upcoming video game?
Yeah. And I was not satisfied with that, so I went back and tried to actually make him look like Waluigi. And
He already looks like Waluigi!
Yeah, but this looks better like Waluigi. I also did the coloring and all that.
It does look like Kingdom Hearts Waluigi, yeah.
So yeah, that turned out okay, I'd say. All things considered. And this will be in that video, so people will be able to see this art as well. It's not a thing where I'm like, oh hey, I did this thing, and then no one ever sees it aside from the 3 of us.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to to do something along the same lines, but I didn't want to, because Pink and I, near the end of that video, Pink and I decide, hey, we're gonna do all of the Mario characters as Kingdom Hearts characters, because it's easier if we don't have to look for actual topics to draw.
Yeah.
So I was like, what can I do that's along similar lines, but not actually freaking doing exactly that? Because yeah, and I was like, okay, what if I do the opposite? What if I take a Kingdom Hearts character and try to do my best to make them look like Mario? So here's Sora. please don't mind that I messed up the freaking foreshortening, and he turned out he became a T-Rex, but you know.
The face is pretty good.
Indeed.
That's pretty well just Sora's face.
I don't know if it's that good, but it's okay. The hair turned out really good. That I will agree with, though. Like that, the hair really ties the face together. Like, okay, the hair and face together do look a lot like Sora, but I freaking like the nose looks bad in my opinion. At the same time, I gave him that sort of nose because that's what Mario has. So there's a purpose.
Yeah.
I feel like I could have done better with the perspective overall, cause yeah, the legs aren't great.
There's always room for improvement, but I think you did pretty well.
Thanks.
And like, you always got to remember, like, what was I going to say?
I don't know. You said I always gotta remember, and then you stopped.
That's That's kind of ironic, actually.
Yeah.
Let's see. I did.
Start doing that to my family and friends. I'll be like, "Oh, you always got to remember," and then I'll just walk out without any further explanation.
Yeah.
Let's pretend.
Remember what? What was that madman talking about?
You got to keep people on their toes. That way, they pay attention when you're talking.
Yeah.
Oh, he's opened his mouth again. What's coming out this time?
You know that one small thing that is different between these two that I think I could actually benefit from us discussing is Valuigi's line shading I did by hand. Sora's I did by machine because there's a way for me to do perfect line shading.
Yeah.
And I don't know which one looks better because, like, objectively speaking, Sora's looks better because it's more freaking unison or whatever. Uniform. That's the word. Yes. But freaking like it does look.
Did you say unison?
No, unison, not unison.
Oh, unison, as in like united. Okay,
Yes.
I thought you said unison. I was like, I don't see where he comes into this.
Yeah, the line shading on Sora is made of Virgil. Oh no.
For some reason, your drawings just start speaking to you, Dante.
Yeah. my drawing steps me and then splits me in two.
Ah, shit. What are the two halves that get split? Because, like, he always splits it into human and demon. What happens if you just split a human into something?
You get human Eddie and furry Eddie.
Oh, God.
I guess that's one way to become an actual fucking wolf.
There
Anyway,
are two wolves inside you. One is gay. The other is also gay.
there's two wolves inside. There's two wolves inside you. This furry convention is going rather well.
Oh, God. There are two wolves inside you. You're going to be in surgery tomorrow.
You know,
If it weren't for the ether, this would be incredibly painful.
what will having Max MP help me with the pain?
That's what Donald's giving me in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Hey, Sora, you need some help? Ether, the delightful devil drug. Oh man, if I were smarter, I'd fucking whip out my copy of Fear and Loathing right now and recite off the entirety of the passage on Ether. Son of a bitch, I might be able to find it. Where is it? Shit. I gotta check my bookcase.
But anyway, speaking of Kingdom Hearts and shit like that, you know, if we ever decide that we don't want to do this YouTube stuff anymore, we need to make the last playthrough Kingdom Hearts just so the curse survives. Have you heard of that one, Pink?
I've not. What is the Kingdom Hearts curse?
So, Pink, there's the Kingdom Hearts LP Earth curse, where whenever someone starts playing through Kingdom Hearts, they stop making videos, or if they do it in a group, then the group splits up.
I see.
So that's why I'm saying if we ever wanna stop doing this YouTube thing, we need to make one of the last playthroughs Kingdom Hearts. Like, freaking, the best friends started up on Kingdom Hearts playthrough, stopped making videos like 2 months later. Freaking, I don't remember if Achievement Hunter or there was another one of those like actual corporation channels where.
It's still going.
But I know, but I think both of the people who started the Kingdom Hearts playthrough have left already, or left by now. Words.
I don't think they ever did a Kingdom Hearts playthrough, and if they did, it probably wouldn't be Ryan and Ray.
And I don't know, but I remember that there was this corporation channel that started a playthrough of Kingdom Hearts, and both of the people who were supposed to play through it left the company.
Funhouse?
I don't think so. Like,
Smosh?
no, I think it may have been Machinima, because that was so long ago that I wouldn't remember. But
Yeah.
or like one of the smaller ones. But it wasn't Funhouse and people like that, because Funhouse I was watching until Bruce left, I think. So the only person leaving that I wouldn't have known was freaking Adam. And I knew about Adam leaving because he left with kind of a freaking what's the opposite of an entrance?
Well, he actually wound up being kind of lucky because what he did was pretty disgusting. But next to Ryan, it was like, oh, you know what, Adam ain't so bad. Come to think of it.
I mean, yeah, because didn't Adam just like abuse his position to get women and then jerk off in the office or something?
I don't think he even abused his position to get with women. It was just that he had filmed himself masturbating in the office.
Ah, so yeah, like
Because
comparatively, Adam's okay.
yeah, there was a guy that pretended to be a woman and messaged Ryan and Adam both asking for videos of them naked masturbating. And then that guy turned out to be a 4chaner and released them publicly. And at first, it looked like it was worse for Adam because Ryan had only filmed himself masturbating in his own house. So it's kind of like, whatever. Whereas Adam had filmed himself masturbating in the Funhouse office. But that wound up leading to the floodgate opening on virtually everyone having loads and loads of accusations against Ryan. And people started doing the math and working out that Ryan was an inveterate liar and that every single story there was of him sexually harassing or just outright raping a girl lined up with a period of time where Ryan was like suspiciously absent and noted to be suspiciously absent by the other achievement hunters, and Ryan came up with an obviously bullshit story. Like, I knew something was up. I knew something was up the moment that Ryan said that he stays at a hotel a day extra, that more than he has to, than the other achievement hunters, claiming that he needed it to get a night's sleep away from his kids. Like, no, that's pretty suspect, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is an anime.
That should have been a red flag a lot sooner.
There is an animated podcast moment, one of the Rooster Teeth animations, of him telling us like this long, elaborate, obviously made up story of like every possible thing. Like, oh, there's a hang up at the taxis and there's a hang up at the airport and a hang up at everywhere. He'll explain why he had to come home late another day, and people added it up. And not only was it an obvious lie, but it perfectly lined up with one of the women's accusations. Yeah. Needless to say, Rooster Teeth took that video down.
Womp womp.
Yeah, no,
People.
no kidding. The trouble, I never really liked Ryan. I always thought he was like genuinely awkward. But God, he was in every video. So many of my favorite Achievement Hunter moments are ruined by him being there now, you know?
Yeah.
Sucks. Like, I don't think I've ever had that with any other YouTubers, come to think of it. Because, like, I don't like Kutra, but I can put up with him in the old Creatures videos, you know?
Yeah.
Right, because he wasn't, well, he hasn't been outed for anything, so yeah.
Like,
and
the
wasn't
worst
up to nasty stuff.
The worst things Kutra did were business mismanagement and, like, not following the rules he set regarding dating coworkers. Those are the worst things he did.
Kutra,
it's just that other than
Kutra truly is modern day Walt Disney.
Yeah,
because Disney had a rule in his company that you weren't supposed to date the Ink girls. Also, his wife was an Ink girl.
Maybe it was a warning. Don't do my mistake.
But yeah, that's Ben. Among other things, that led to people freaking having a strike in like 42 or whatever, and then Disney was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna freaking put up with this shit. I'm gonna go and make Disneyland instead.
Fuck you! I'm making Disneyland.
Yeah,
that is quite the jump.
Did y'all hear about what the original plan for Epcot was?
Oh.
Think?
Nope.
So Walt originally wanted Epcot to be a city that he governs, that would have been outside of the United States' jurisdiction, that would be 25 years ahead of the rest of the world when it comes to technology. And people who moved there would have to basically abide by his rules. There was no democracy whatsoever, like at all. Like, I think, I don't remember who it was, but one of his men asked him about, like, if if you want people to live there, they need to actually, like, be able to vote and stuff like that. Like, people want to have representatives, and Walt was like, nah, mate, it's fine. They just do what I say.
Flash forward to 2020 when we had the autonomous zone, Chad or whatever it was.
Chaz, yes. Chaz may still exist. I'm not certain.
It honestly might. I feel like they wanted to close that down months back, but I don't know. It might actually still exist, which would be kind of funny.
Yeah. Man.
But yeah, like, he wanted that. Also, people who lived in Epcot.
The funny thing is, by now Disney's getting pretty close to making its own country. So yeah.
Yeah. And also,
if not making one, they can just probably buy one at this point. There's got to be some poor third world country ready to be bought.
I mean,
there is almost certainly several countries that Disney can easily afford.
I'm pretty
together.
Yeah, Pink. I'm pretty sure
if you wanted, they could probably unite Central Africa.
I mean, I'm pretty sure with the kind of money Disney has, they could probably reinstate the Eastern Bloc without, like, including Russia. And
like, I'm just imagining the fucking, like, the Papers, Please theme playing in the background, like a picture of Mickey Mouse, right?
Yeah.
Bop, 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 bop. Man, the Papers, Please theme is just like the perfect theme for soulless bureaucratic tyranny, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, like that. It also would have been a thing where people who live in Epcot would basically have, like, glass walls. So pretty much anytime you're not on the shitter, people can just walk in and look at how you live, because you were supposed to show off that you live in a better place than they do.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Legitimately, a society fundamentally built around the rat race? Seriously?
Kinda. And like that all of that happened, and then multiple people told Walt, hey, if you don't give people voting rights, they will probably rebel. This won't work. And Walt was like, okay, you know what? Then what we'll do is we're gonna have people for 9 months at most, and then we just kick everyone out, and then get new people. And even on his deathbed, like, the last things he said to his brother we were talking about the layout of the city. And the city never freaking came to exist because Roy Disney was not less stupid.
You guys know what Walt Disney's last words were?
What?
He wrote on a napkin, Kurt Russell.
Wait.
And that's it.
Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
But
People have asked Kurt, what the fuck does that mean? And Kurt just shrugs and goes, I don't fucking know.
I think I may have an idea. So, the whole big thing behind Epcot, or like Epcot became Walt's obsession when he was dying. So one of the last things he did was take a napkin and then draw out his last layout and stuff like that for it. So maybe because he wanted, like, celebrities to advertise that moving to Epcot is great, and he wanted, like, freaking corporate sponsors and all that. Maybe he wanted Kurt Russell to advertise Epcot when it opened.
No, I think he was selecting his next mayor on the deathbed.
No, there wouldn't have been a mayor, Pink, because it would have been Walt.
But Walt was dying, so he's passing off the inheritance.
Oh, true.
He's selecting a new dictator.
Yeah.
We need a new dictator? Make it Kurt Russell.
I'm gonna be honest, I might accept that.
And Walt knows this. Who wouldn't accept that?
Walt Disney was a genius.
Yeah.
We all thought he was a crazy senile old man, but no. We've cracked the code. We know what his plan was, and he's a freaking madman, but a genius nonetheless.
He should have started the Epcot explanation off with that. All right, so I'm planning to make an authoritarian dictatorship under Kurt Russell. Oh, we're in. Richard Nixon announces abdication of the presidency.
But so like you know why the reason the Floridian, I think, with Disneyland it's called Walt Disney World is because Disney World, like the actual park of Disney World would have been like 1/10 of Epcot. And Roy was like, oh, and yeah, yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
And then Roy Disney was like, you know what? I don't think I really want to go ahead and pump money into this authoritarian regime that my brother imagined. Yeah. But I love him still, so I'm gonna make the freaking the amusement park and then or the park, and I'm gonna name it after him proper. So that's why it's called Walt Disney World.
Oh my God. The phone like bit crunched what you said real bad. So instead of saying Disney World, what it said was Disney World.
Homer. I'm pretty sure that was a bit with Homer calling Disney World Disney World or something like that.
I always remember the memes. People were taking like the between frames from Disney movies that you weren't supposed to see, and like there's like one shot in Beauty and the Beast where Gaston has like one arm that's like completely flipped around 180 behind his back, and his face is contorted into like a weird shape where his eyes are bugging out and wall-eyed and shit. And it just says in big white text, Disney World.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, I also did rework the last Avatar I showed off to Pink last week, which W would have missed. So there that is.
Hang on, it takes a second for my phone to catch up. Ah, I see. Yes, it's turning into more of a puppy.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I'm young, so it's okay.
Oh God. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we didn't finish the thing about the shading. So, do you think which one do you think is better overall? the freaking the uniform shading that I did with the option in my drawing software, or the actual like by hand shading on Waluigi? Because I honestly don't know which one I like better.
For the sheer amount that you use, it would probably look and be wiser to use the uniform shading that you've got. Because when I draw on the lines like that, I usually only have a few. You tend to use the lines a lot more, a significant amount more than I do. So, first of all, it would just be easier to use the uniform lines. And second, I think it will all flow better together if they all look uniform.
All right, thanks.
Since you've already got a lot going there. So,
yeah.
I think doing it manually would kind of muddy up the picture more than it would help it. So, I would go with the uniform.
All right, thanks. I wasn't sure about it, because sometimes breaking the uniformity does look better, but I don't know if that's enough for me to actually like freaking spend 2 hours. By the way, I actually did shade Sora by hand as well. That took me 2 hours. but I didn't like how the line work turned out on that version, so I redrew everything. Like I do.
Yep, that happens.
So yeah, did I do anything else? I don't think I did. I mean, I guess I did make this monochrome version of that avatar that freaking most people I show like the monochrome version better, which, I mean, I understand because so do I. But yeah, that's about it.
Give me a second. The monochrome version looks a bit derpier, if you ask me.
Kind of, yeah. I can see it. Like I feel like both have things over the other.
Yeah.
Because the monochrome version, I feel like jumps out better when you just freaking like skim over through it.
Yeah.
But like the addition of color freaking makes it so you can actually see detail, which is kind of important sometimes. So yeah, pros and cons. And yeah, I think that's all I've done. So, W.
For my week. Let's see. Well, I guess first I should hit the thing I haven't beat. So, for whatever reason, I guess just because it was a single player game and I felt like checking it out again, installed Morrowind and put a lot of hours into it. So Steam lists me as having put 300 hours into Skyrim. I'm willing to bet it's closer to 50 to 100, somewhere in that space. And the remainder of those hours were spent modding and trying to trouble fix the fuck ups with mods I made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I did put quite a bit of time into Skyrim. Skyrim is a very distinctly flawed game. I had my fun with it, and I thought the lore was very interesting in parts. But at the same time, game looks fucking boring as fuck, and boy, the leveling system in that game is just all different kinds of fucked. Ted and Mike have had enough discussions about that to fill a fucking book.
Yep.
I once put 30 minutes into Oblivion, saw how hideous the characters were, and was just kind of like, okay, goodbye. But Morrowind about, it was a while ago, 7 or 8 or 9 or maybe even 10 years ago. I got Morrowind, installed it because I heard so much about it being great and better than Skyrim in every single way. Especially from our good friend Mike. Installed it, played it, got 10 minutes of it. I was like, God damn, this is the stupidest game ever, because I went up to an enemy, swung with a sword, and the game was like, you missed. When my sword clearly connected, is like, you missed. Because Morrowind, for those who aren't aware, uses an RNG system to determine whether or not your properly aimed strikes hit or miss. And that RNG is reliant on a couple stats, namely your agility and whatever skill you happen to be using with that weapon. And at the time, I was like, this is stupidest shit in the world. Goodbye, uninstall. However, going back as an adult who has also put more time into like D&D proper, I actually am fine with it, because I've just changed my view on it altogether. Because when I was coming at it from the Skyrim perspective, of Skyrim being this kind of like awkward, fucked up action RPG where it isn't really fun from an action perspective or an RPG perspective, I can appreciate it a lot more in Morrowind, because Morrowind, at the very least, it's fun from an RPG perspective. There's no fucking action to it, because you and the enemy are both swinging at each other like maniacs and missing so much in the early game, but, whatever. But it's fun to actually build that. And there's some neat things to it. Like there's also a block skill if you've got a shield out, and that runs a random chance as well. And so you'll have neat moments where an enemy hits you that you were not entirely expecting, and your character blocks it anyway. So it seems like a cool moment of like, oh, what reflexes, and so on. I've actually come around to appreciate it a little bit. That said, it's still a little derpy, and it doesn't fit Oblivion or Skyrim at all. So, yeah, it's a very serious problem for people going back from Skyrim or Oblivion and just expecting Skyrim or Oblivion, but better. With that said, Morrowind, it's got a couple things I'd say it's worse than later entries on. Like, it is neat. One of the things that really sets Morrowind apart that everybody loves to talk about is that Morrowind doesn't have map markers or, like, objective markers or any of that shit from, like, Skyrim, where you see, like, an arrow on the world that's like, hey, go here to complete the quest, dipshit. Morrowind doesn't do that. Morrowind, you go and get the quest, and the guy just says, okay, so in order to do this, I need you to get, like, the golden dagger from the dungeon, but, so you're going to want to go up to the waterfall and then take a left up until you see the signpost, take a right, keep going, you're going to see the cave. If you see the old gods, you've gone too far. And that's it.
I mean, it's not even left or right, because I have played Morrowind as well. I played I played the last 3 Elder Scrolls games, although I think I put the most time into Oblivion out of the 3 I've played. But yeah, so I played Morrowind, and I remember the freaking, like, the reason I quit playing Morrowind is because I don't usually remember the cardinal directions, like their names, and then people will be just like, oh, go south, like, gee, thanks. And then I spend the next freaking, and then I spend the next 20 minutes trying to figure out which way south is again.
And like, that's another problem. But there is no compass, which that's a problem for people who don't know the cardinal directions. But like, they also made it where some NPCs like give very detailed directions. Some NPCs are just like, it's on an island to the east. Like, okay, thanks. There's like a fucking dozen of those. And there are some NPCs who outright give incorrect fucking directions. There's an NPC who tells you, all right, there's an island southwest of an island with a shrine on it. You're going to want to go to that island. Turns out the actual island you want to go to, southeast of the island with a shrine. What the fuck? It's one of those things of like, I get it, realism. People in real life get bad directions sometimes, but fuck. With that said, holy shit, that game is a lot deeper than Skyrim. And that game has a lot more interesting stuff to do than Skyrim. Skyrim, you pick your race. Congrats, you've made the only character creation choice there is outside of just customizing their cosmetics. You're done. Every character, every Nord starts off with the same stats. Every Redguard starts off with the same stats. Morrowind doesn't do that. Get off the boat, choose your race, then you choose your class, then you choose your birth sign.
And you can even make like custom classes, from what I remember.
Yes, though there's so many default classes to choose from that I don't really see the point of custom classes unless you're specifically going for like the meta, you know?
Yeah, I remember I made a custom class just because I wanted to see what it was like, and of course I played as a Khajiit because I'm totally not a furry, you guys. Like,
Ooh.
But anyway, yeah, continue.
Yeah, so big part of what Skyrim does, Morrowind does differently from Skyrim, is that the class you pick at the very start has what are called major skills and minor skills. The major skills get boosted quite a bit at character start. Minor skills get boosted a little bit, but that's not all. Skyrim always had it that, like, for every 10 levels you pick up in the various skills, you pick up a one, like, whole character level, which you can then use to either boost health, magic, or fatigue. Morrowind has it where you only can pick up character levels by getting 10 levels in your major or minor skills. So if you pick, like, oh, I'm going to play an assassin this game, and then you put like 30 million levels into smithing, let's say, you craft the mythical 1,000 daggers, which isn't even a thing in this game, I believe. I don't think there's dagger crafting. But either which way, you do all that, and your character still hasn't leveled up, because you didn't pick that as a major or minor skill, because you picked assassin. The only ways you're going to get to level up are leveling up sneak, or secure lock picking, or one-handed swords, that kind of thing. Which I think is neat, because it is very much, it discourages what Ted always complained about, which is, of course, the grinding thing. Grind out daggers for level ups.
Yeah.
However, the leveling system has a different problem with it that I really don't like. For one thing, there is one stat that is clearly superior to all others. Lots of RPGs have this problem, and in Morrowind, it's endurance. Every other stat has things where it's like, oh, it just flatly upgrades, so-and-so. Like, hey, you upgraded speed. This just makes you move faster. Oh, hey, you upgraded strength. This increases your damage with melee and also your carry weight. Endurance not only increases your health, it increases the amount of health that you gain with each level up, and endurance does not act retroactively. So the faster you put points into endurance, the earlier you put points into endurance, the better. The more you kind of like pick up this, it's an investment,
Yeah.
What this means is, regardless of what fucking class you pick, the most optimal thing is to put as many points into endurance as soon as possible. Which, when you level up, you get to distribute a couple points around. Right? And by default, it's 1 point. But here's the thing. The amount of levels you pick up that are associated with each of the attributes increases the amount of points you get when you do the full character level. And the way it works is that anywhere from picking up, like, endurance as an attribute is associated with 3 skills. Spears, medium armor, heavy armor. And picking up anywhere in the space from 1 to 10 level ups in those individual skills will provide a multiplier to the points you can invest in endurance when you get to a character level up. So, if you put 10 levels into, let's say, heavy armor, then the next time you get a full character level up, you get to put 5 whole points into endurance. And considering there's a maximum of 100, that's pretty huge. And each time you do it, I believe your endurance is divided by 10, and that's the amount of health that you gain every level. Which, when you get to 100, that means you gain 10 health per level, which is pretty big in a game where hit points matter a lot because most hits miss. The issue, of course, is, for one thing, even if you're playing a mage or a rogue or what have you, you still are all about putting as many points into endurance as early on as possible, which does not feel good because you wanted to play a fucking assassin or a fucking mage. Why do I have to go out and grind my armor? And it feels even dumber as a warrior, because here's the thing. It's easier to level endurance if you didn't pick it as a major or minor skill. Because because if you level a major or minor skill, that is progress towards your next character level up, and that forces it. You can only put so many points. Like, major and minor skills do not overflow. They get moved over. When they level up, if you hit the max for your current character level, it moves over to the next level. So if you've got heavy armor, medium armor, spear enabled, and you've also got, like, long swords enabled. Long sword is a skill, a strength associated skill. So if you put 5 levels into heavy armor and 5 levels into strength, it doesn't matter how many more levels you put into endurance, into heavy armor, it won't count. So you're only going to get a halved multiplier on your endurance points this level up. So you've gimped yourself. And this is a problem because almost all of the warrior type classes are going to have heavy armor and or medium armor, and you're probably going to be using it because that's what your character is spec'd to. And because this is the fucking Elder Scrolls, you level up a skill by using it. So by getting punched in the fucking face, you have now leveled up that skill. Congrats, asshole, you can't take that back. So it's still far from perfect. Todd Howard is not a genius of game design.
Yeah. The biggest question regarding Morrowind that I have is: have you picked up the parchment of Icarian Flight or something like that?
That's one of the first things you're going to do in the game, yeah. Because early on you're supposed to go to Balmora, and if you look at your map, it seems like there's an obvious quick way to go to Balmora, but everyone tells you to go the long way around. I've never actually tried to go the most direct route to Balmora, but when I did try it at first and just decided halfway to stop, the elf falls out of the sky and drops the Icarian Flight scrolls.
Yeah.
And I have, of course, been spoiled on what they do, because I think everyone knows that by now, right? Except people who keep their head in the sand, like Pink. And so,
Pink, do you know what the scrolls of Icarian Flight do?
No.
Well, you can fly for a bit, and then you take all of the fall damage and die.
Well, that's unpleasant.
Yeah. How you get them is you're just walking through the forest, and legitimately just right in front of your path, you see an elf fall to his death from fucking nowhere. And you hear him screaming long before you see him. So you're just walking through the forest, and you hear, a crunch. And you just see an elf wearing the goofiest fucking Merlin cosplay ever explode.
Also, you might remember to freaking find the freaking crab merchant in
Yes,
Morrowind.
I have not seen him yet, but I have seen the Demon Merchant. That shit breaks the game.
Yeah.
Morrowind is the easiest game to break I have seen in my fucking life. So here's a really dumb Todd Howard thing here. Todd Howard loves in his games to have where the DLCs remind you that they're installed, right?
Yeah.
Skyrim, Dawnguard was really infamous because as soon as you had Dawnguard installed, that meant that villages all across Skyrim are going to getting attacked by vampires. And you could have important NPCs die in these vampire attacks without you completing their related quests. It sucked ass, right?
Nice.
Yeah, it's great. Well, fucking Morrowind, it's been going on for that long. It was like 2003 and that shit was happening. Because if you have the Tribunal DLC installed, which everyone does nowadays because whenever they sell Morrowind, they sell the Game of the Year edition. So everyone comes with the Tribunal DLC installed. And whenever you have the Tribunal DLC installed, every time you sleep until you start the Tribunal main quest, every time you sleep, there is a percentage chance that it will summon a Dark Brotherhood assassin who will come up and try to kill you.
Nice.
Now, what is nice is that they have leveled gear in terms of stats and their weapons. So when they go up and attack you at first, they're just coming at you with some bitch-ass iron, throwing stars, and knives. And if you fight them, you just put off the main quest entirely up until the late game, they'll be coming at you with glass knives and shooting fucking doom bolts or some shit at you. So that's neat, right? Problem is, their armor isn't leveled. Which means that when you, at level 1, kill one of these Dark Brotherhood motherfuckers, you then pick up a set of armor that is, for one thing, the second best set of light armor in the game. I spec'd my character into light armor. So I got to entirely ignore the game's armor progression just because of this one dipshit ninja. So we run into immediately that classic video game problem of, okay, if you want to have fun and play the game properly, you need to ignore the free shit the game is giving you. But even if you aren't spec'd into light armor, you can look at the armor, and it is worth an absurd amount of money. Just selling it to any merchant's going to get you fucking rich, way too rich for the early game. But if you know about that demon merchant who lives in Caldera, he is not counted as an NPC properly. He is not a humanoid who has a mercantile stat. And a merchant's mercantile stat influences how good of a deal they'll give you. The more skilled a merchant is at being a merchant, the worse deal he's going to give you. And NPCs monsters do not have that. So the demon merchant doesn't have a mercantile stat. So he will accept you just going ahead and selling the entire armor set to him at fucking the actual value. So you just get ludicrously rich by selling shit to him. And the entire mercantile stat has no reason to fucking exist. Because virtually every item in the game can be sold to that demon merchant for the full value price.
Yeah, you get rich and then you spend all of it on skooma.
Yes.
And copies of the Last Argonian made.
Yeah. Man, I did not know you actually get to meet the guy who wrote the Lusty Argonian Maid in Morrowind. That's great.
Yeah.
He's one of the best parts of this game. It's a pity Morrowind doesn't really have voice acting because it has better NPCs than any other Elder Scrolls game. I fucking love the Blades agent you meet because, like Skyrim, the Blades agent you meet is like, "Hello, I am Helga. I am the biggest badass in the world, and that's my entire characterization." Whereas the Blades agent you meet in Morrowind is like you just walk in and it's this like ancient skooma addict who's balding but like super ripped. And you go up and talk to him at first, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm just an old man with a skooma habit, buddy." And like, no, he's like fucking badass of the world and like an amazing trainer in hand-to-hand combat and unarmored defense. What the fuck?
Yeah. The difference between Skyrim's blades and Morrowind's blades is that the blades didn't stock back in Morrowind, and then Oblivion fucking kills them, and then Skyrim.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that pretty well is it, isn't it? Because, like, they don't give a shit about the actual Emperor. They only cared about the Septim family. So the Septim family dies out in Oblivion, so they're like, all right, we're fucking off then.
Yeah, pretty much.
See, the blades are cooler the way Morrowind does them, where they're not like Skyrim has them all be like, "Hey, we're weeaboos," which like it's neat having like an organization of like off samurai because like everyone in Elder Scrolls
an
is like,
organization of angry otakus
yeah,
in Fantasy Iceland.
I do like that like the not Japanese invaded at some point in Elder Scrolls history, and everyone is still kind of like, man, weren't they cool?
Yeah.
But when everyone's a samurai, that's a bit derpy, you know?
Yeah.
A little bit.
It was cooler in Morrowind where the blades could be anyone. And like so many of them were like just oddballs like Caius Casades, like fucking naked old monk badass warrior who's fucking ripped and has a drug problem. Oh man. Which, okay, that's another thing I gotta get to. So, Skywind, yes. Skyrim.
Skywind is the name of the Morrowind remake in Skyrim. That Bethesda was like, hey, go ahead and make that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, yes. But, Skyrim has a really boring world. The only visually interesting parts of Skyrim are like High Hrothgar and the Dwemer ruins, right?
Yeah.
Like otherwise, it's snow, mountains, forests, more snow. Morrowind does not have that problem. Because the western half of Morrowind, you get a bit more like what you're expecting for a fantasy setting, but it's very mountainous. But you get lots of forests and lots of swamps. Then you go east and it's weirdo mushroom volcano land. Then you go north and it's just like the fucking drizzling shit's ashland. And it's so interesting and so cool, and I like that a lot better. And you go to the east and they've got cities made out of mushrooms. It's awesome.
I have a feeling W would like the second world of Jazz Jackrabbit too.
Huh? Okay. Has there ever been a bigger act of lore cowardice than fucking Oblivion, where in previous Elder Scrolls games they said that Cyrodiil was a jungle, and the western half was inhabited by Imperials who were like kind of horse tribes, Germanic horse tribes, and the eastern half of Cyrodiil was inhabited by like Imperials who are like an odd mix of Aztecs and Chinese, and it was a big jungle. Then Oblivion, you play Oblivion, and it's like, oh no, it's Lord of the Rings land. Like, that is one of the most severe examples I've ever seen of just cowardice like that, you know? Like, just such a stupid fucking retcon.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, I guess it's not a retcon, because the way they explain it away is fucking Tiber Septim reached Chim and just turned it into Lord of the Rings land.
Tiber Septim used the One Ring.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, that's another thing I do want to mention. Well, the last thing I want to mention about Morrowind, which I guess is a big spoiler, is the thing I have been spoiled about the end of the game, close to the end of the game, is, Addy, you've heard of Chim before, right?
How do you spell his name?
Oh, no, it's not a person, but Chim. And it's all caps.
I think so.
So Chim is like a state of ascension in the Elder Scrolls universe, where if a person realizes that the entirety of the Elder Scrolls universe exists within the dream of a dying god, they ascend.
Howard.
Yeah, pretty well. They ascend and become able to pretty well influence and shape reality and change like timelines and shit. And it's probably one of the neatest things Morrowind does is there is a living god in Morrowind you can meet called Vivek. And if you go up to him and try to pick a fight with him, he says, "Fuck you, I know what you are. You've reached Chim. It doesn't matter how many times I kill you. You can just reverse time until you eventually win. I'm not doing this." So it's actually canon in the Elder Scrolls universe that your character just loads up old saves whenever he's like, nah.
Yeah.
Which makes every Elder Scrolls protagonist inherently the most broken shit ever.
Yep. I mean, it makes mods canon.
Yeah. See, I don't like when Undertale does like, oh, you shouldn't kill NPCs because they have souls. No. See, I think that's interesting when they make the video game mechanics part of the game, like just like outside of story video game mechanics into part of the story like that. I think that's interesting, you know?
Yeah, I'm fine with this. I don't like how Undertale did it because I think it stumbled on its own narrative. Really.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I'm fine with this. Because like it makes sense if someone would have the kind of knowledge, like if a character would have the kind of knowledge to know that to break the fourth wall, and then you do something that should set off them breaking the fourth wall, then I'm fine with them breaking the fourth wall like that.
Yeah.
By the way, I just want to note that like freaking like my favorite part of the Elder Scrolls overall is just the amount of creativity Dot Howard has regarding the characters that they have. Like that one guy in Skyrim who is a werewolf whose name is literally the Hungarian word for wolf.
Yeah, it's worth noting that the guy who wrote Redguard and Morrowind and pretty well made Elder Scrolls lore what it is, I do not believe was around for Oblivion or Skyrim.
Yeah, I don't think he was.
I think they consulted him for Skyrim, but that was it.
I don't remember which one it is, but there's a writer from Morrowind or Oblivion Times, I forget, who still writes like things in the Elder Scrolls world, but technically it's fan canon because he doesn't work on Bethesda anymore.
Yes, I've heard about this. It's called something like, they have an actual term for it, but I don't remember. Anyways, yeah, there's Morrowind. Let's see, on to something that's a little less time consuming. Off the top of my head, Quake was very suddenly announced that it was remastered and was now not only packaged with both of its DLCs, but they also added 2 entirely new episodes, also free, as well as announcing they're going to continue to make mods part of the official thing, starting off with a port of Quake 64, which I didn't even know existed.
I did.
And yeah, that's a quality fucking remaster. It makes Quake, which was already a pretty good looking game, already very well aged game, like almost kind of downright gorgeous at times, despite the very goofy N64 polygon men, right? Which they did touch up all of the models considerably and add a lot more polygons to them, which is kind of strange to look at now. But yeah, Quake's a very funny game. Because it's got such a strange style to it, right? Because the people at id could not agree on fucking anything with Quake. Quake was the Yoko Ono of id, right?
I can't really comment on Quake because I played Doom and then I stopped playing the shooters. So that entire era of like trying to figure out first-person shooters with like the M64 and shit like that, and like Quake and Turok and stuff like that, like I have no nostalgia for that stuff.
Yeah.
And I haven't really played any of them because like I just don't care, really.
Yeah, fair enough. But Quake, they couldn't decide whether they wanted to do something fantasy or something sci-fi. So they wound up doing both. So you wind up with this very strange thing where your character is a space marine coming in with a machine gun, assaulting a castle full of both knights and a bunch of leather faces running around with chainsaws and grenade launchers. And also there's like Lovecraft monsters here, but you can just kill them. Kind of not really the idea of Lovecraft monsters, but okay.
They're lesser
and everything is also very brown and red. Quake was the original game that was very brown. But because things are so like crazy and fantastical and bizarro, it almost feels like it's an actual art style instead of just realism, that kind of thing, like more like Call of Duty did, so and so.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. It's good. I beat the first episode for the second time in my life. I believe I've beaten it before. And yeah, I'll probably play through the rest of it at some point. Knowing me, maybe in the distant future. Speaking of games that I did play at some point and then beat in the distant future, This past week, I beat 2 first-person shooters. I beat Doom, the original Doom, which came with 3 episodes. Fun fact. I was confused by that because my version comes with 4 episodes, and I was like, "Oh wait, I have the Ultimate Doom," which is apparently a version of Doom released after Doom 2, where John Romero and American McGee came back and made a 4th episode to try and bridge Doom 1 to Doom 2 called Thy Flesh Consumed, which is a very good title for an episode of Doom. And it is like the fucking hardest Doom ever. I started that shit, barely made it out of the first level, could not make it far at all in the second level. There is like no armor, no ammo, loads of enemies, and you remember Barons of Hell, right, Addy?
Yep.
Yeah, in the original version of Doom 1, there are 2 that are the final boss of the first episode. Then you see maybe another one in episode 2 and another one in episode 3, and that's about it. Fucking Doom episode 4 like throws 3 at you in the first level, and then like another like 2 or 3 in the fucking second level, and then a cyber demon just like halfway through the fucking second level.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, at that point I'm like, all right, fuck this. Pass. I'll come back when I'm better. I can't take this right now. No. Oh man, I'll come back when I've got a fucking full night's sleep. Come back when I'm fucking high on adrenaline, shoot it directly in my veins. Now I'm ready. Hang on, let me do a rail.
You'll beat it in Tate Doom.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
I'm sorry, what?
Tate Doom. There's a new port of Doom, I guess. It's not official. It was a fan-made port of Doom that allows you to run it in freaking portrait mode.
Portrait mode, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can run Doom, I guess. Man, the other day I saw someone point out that the helix of DNA contains more data than Doom does. So you can run Doom.
Yep. Now comes the real question though. Can I run Crisis?
Oh no! With enough blood, sweat, and tears. Oh boy.
Like that's gonna be when the freaking like, I'm imagining like 10 years freaking Texas Instruments starts advertising their calculators with can run Crisis.
As if that would be important.
Yeah.
Oh god. Okay, so it's taken me a while to beat the 3rd episode of Doom. It's where I've been hung up in the past. I finally beat it. Fun episode. It's the one where he actually goes to hell, and it's cool, and it's got a unique aesthetic, and it's nice, and there's a lot of cool level gimmicks revolving around teleporters and shit. With that said, the final boss of Doom 1, the Spider Mastermind, is kind of infamous for being a bit underwhelming. And it's for one specific reason. You have the BFG by that point. If you aim the BFG square in the fucking Spider Mastermind's face while relatively close to it, it's a one-hit kill. And boom, there you go. There's the final boss. Fucking great. And the game just ends as soon as you kill the Spider Mastermind, by the way.
It just goes back to DOS, even if you're using it on a modern computer.
Oh, dude, I've got GZ Doom, which is a modded platform to run games like Doom and Heretic on. But actually, if you just play the direct Steam port of Doom, or at least you used to up until recently, I think Bethesda finally moved it onto a modern platform. But up until, like, I don't know, 2016 was when I last played Doom on something that wasn't GZ Doom. It actually did open up fucking DOSBox and run Doom through DOSBox.
Nice.
But yeah, it honestly, like, as soon as you kill Spider Mastermind, you see the sprite do the animation of it collapsing, and then it fucking, like, star wipes to the final, like, text crawl. Oh, man, that was great. I think that either John Romero or Adrian Carmack or Sandy Peterson has actually said in an interview, yeah, the Spider Mastermind was a mistake. Which I guess then someone was like, well, clearly we need to actually have a good final boss for Doom 2. I've got the perfect idea. Final boss is going to be John Romero. Okay.
Yeah, they saw the freaking the thing with Vince being the leader of the Ministry, and John Romero was like, "We're going to do that."
That wouldn't happen for another 4 years, but okay. That's how old Doom is. Fuck, that game's old.
Yeah.
Doom is going to turn 30 in 2 years.
Ah, nice.
Quite some time.
It's aged very well, all things considered, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, the crazy thing's gonna be like when Quake turns 30. Fuck.
No, the crazy thing will be when Black Ops turns 30.
Yeah, oh god. Shit, I'm gonna be middle-aged. Fuck that.
Yeah, we'll all be middle-aged, and we'll be miserable, probably.
Silent Hill 2 is going to turn 20. Silent Hill 2 may have turned 20 just a couple days ago, or it may in a few days. I know that Silent Hill 2 was already out by the time of 9/11 because Mike was playing Silent Hill 2 like the day after. Said that was a very interesting time in his life.
Shit, how old is Quake?
Sounds like it.
Silent Hill 2 came out in 2001.
No, I know that. I'm counting someone else or something else rather.
There was like a month period where Mike got dumped by his girl. Well, no, he didn't get dumped, but Mike dumped his girlfriend, moved out, was living in a motel, playing Silent Hill 2, a game about a character who loses his girlfriend and finds a girl who's identical to his girlfriend who becomes a stripper, which you guys know the significance of that.
Yep.
And then kills himself.
Oh, did you see that? Did you see that they might have found a new weapon in Silent Hill 2? I didn't.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if it was a meme. I think it was a meme. I think it was.
People have tore that game's source code apart, man.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible, but I did see a picture of a picture circulating that people might have found like a pillow as a joke weapon.
Oh no, there's no way. There's no way. That's a meme. That's
okay,
a meme,
good.
brother. That is a guarantee right there. A rather spicy one, but still a meme.
It's going to be a weapon in the HD remastered or the remake, though. Rather, yeah.
What would be the extra spicy version of the meme would be if it wasn't James holding the pillow, it was Pyramid Head.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Pyramid Head. Man. Mod Silent Hill 2, so Pyramid Head is dragging around the big body pillow.
Oh God, no!
It's a Dakimakura with Maria on it.
Oh no! That's kind of accurate though, honestly.
Yeah.
That's pretty well applied to Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, Pyramid Head is dragging around his Maria Dakimakura, and James wants him to stop because he's getting embarrassed.
So, Pink, you know how I mentioned that with Pinhead around, Dead by Daylight now has completed the trio of killers that are way too horny?
Right.
Yeah, Pyramid Head, huh?
He's too canny.
Oh, I heard they buffed his ass.
Yeah, they unnerved his ass. It was too powerful.
It wasn't powerful enough, apparently. Oh, man. All right. And the last thing I did this week that's really worth talking about, because we could talk about wrestling more, but this podcast is going on long enough. Fuck it. I beat Half-Life 2. So, Half-Life 2, my first experience with Half-Life 2 was picking up the orange box about 10 years ago, back when the Xbox 360, my Xbox 360 was new. And boy, I put a shitload of time into Team Fortress 2 back in those days. And that's especially funny because that's like a super jank version of Team Fortress 2 that still has a load of bugs and never had any of the class updates. So there's no unlockable weapons, no unlockable hats, only the 6 launch maps, which is extra funny. And like there's crazy shit like the engineer can't move buildings or the pyro can't air blast, which is big changes to both those classes. Either which way, man, I am nostalgic for Team Fortress 2. It is hurting the lack of internet, man. How is it, Addy, how is it we have not forced Pink to play Team Fortress 2?
I don't know, you forced me.
That's right, I did. But like the problem was I couldn't get you to like go with me on like one of the on a proper multiplayer server, and getting bots set up was a whole fucking ordeal. So we just wound up not doing anything.
No, we did play one match because we went to a server with no people on it, and then someone else joined, and we played 3 rounds with just the 3 of us.
Boy, that is not TF2.
But the reason we were doing that hopping, I remember, is because I think what you said, you tried to join multiple of the actually like field servers, and most of them had like a shit ton of bots in them, or like not bots, like not AI that the thing was using. I mean like spam bots.
Yes, that was a problem at the time, which supposedly Valve has fixed.
No, it's still a problem. I still hear people complain about it.
Yeah, they fixed some of them, I think, but I think it's been having a bit of a resurgence in the past couple months. But I think I've figured out that I have like what's that stand power you supposedly have to make game series die when you start playing them?
That's not a stand power. That's my life. my stand is something
not
else.
Not all stand powers are good.
But I know, but my stand is something else. My stand power is breaking games in ways that you haven't seen yet.
Whatever it is, like I got the reverse of that. You need to get me to play Assassin's Creed sometime, because fuck's sakes, I was playing Time Splitters a couple months ago, and I was like, man, Time Splitters was great. I wish it'd come back. Next fucking day, oh yeah, we're getting the band back together and making Time Splitters 4. Oh, okay. And about a week ago, I played Morrowind, and I'm like, yeah, Morrowind's kind of neat. Yeah, I wish Skyrim had like stuff that made it actually fun. And they fucking announced, oh, hey, we're releasing Skyrim again, but this time we're actually adding shit.
I mean, they're not adding much.
Fishing.
Yeah, I've only heard fishing. So Pink, we have a reason to play through Skyrim now.
Oh.
They're adding 500 mods. I'm sure a lot of it is just going to be like, here's a new mansion in Markarth with an elf maid with gigantic boobs, but still.
Yeah.
Oh.
Pink is suddenly like, where do I get myself this Skyrim?
No, Pink's thinking about getting the better version of Skyrim job.
Yeah. Oh God. Fucking kill me.
Like imagine if Todd Howard puts the freaking the mod to kill children into the official release.
Honestly,
too
long, I tell you.
Like he does that. I'm actually buying the game this time. Because that's balls I can support.
I want you to convince me with this child murder to buy your product.
Look, are you saying you don't want to kill Hror?
I never hated Skyrim kids. I don't know what's up with people. Anyways, and I start playing Half-Life 2. The next day I see a fucking headline. Hey, Half-Life 2 yesterday had the peak players of its entire lifetime for some reason. I was just like, fuck, what have I must use this power for good! Anyways, yeah, Half-Life 2. Played it, beat it. It's a good game. It's a good game. Let me tell you, coming over from Half-Life 1 really helps you to understand just how amazing that game was for its time. Because, like, that game was graphically, like, fucking nuts. And the physics in that game were fucking nuts. And the ragdolls in that game were fucking nuts. With that said, the game design, the level design drops in quality steadily as the game goes on. Yep. First couple levels, amazing. Like, Root Canal is fantastic, of just having the shootout with the Combine officers in the, like, over the rail yard as the trains are still coming through. And you have to slip between, like, the various alcoves while dodging the way of the train while still having the shootout. It's badass. And you keep going, and you get the Jeep level, which is neat first, and dealing with the antlions is cool, but it goes on way too long. Then you siege Nova Prospect with the antlions, and it's really cool because you got a horde of antlions. At the same time, really starts to show that the combine shotgunner enemy is a fucking pain. Because you don't really notice when you run into them earlier because you run into them in open spaces. But when you run into them in close quarters, boy, it's a hit scan gun that takes off most of your health. And he like has pretty well instant reflexes. This is painful. But whatever, Nova Prospect's still mostly good. Then you move on to the levels where it's all out war in City 17 and you have to lead a horde of NPCs. And the NPC AI is not just like useless. They're decent in the fight. They're mostly good for drawing shots instead of actually shooting anything themselves, but hey, what can you do? Trouble is, they're dumb as hell and you collide with them. And they get in your way a lot. Half-Life is kind of a movement-reliant shooter. It's not like Doom, where movement is everything, but it's still pretty important. So the fact that they get in your way a lot makes you learn to fucking hate them and hope they die. And the level design overall just kind of drops in quality. There are a couple neat shootouts, but the levels go way slower than you'd expect for it to be all-out war in the streets of City 17. You get a couple cool shootouts, and you get one very, very, very cool boss fight where you have to fight like 6 fucking Striders, and it's badass. But other than that, the levels really start to drag, especially the last part where you have to fight another 2 Striders while you're on a rooftop, and there's not really any cover, so you just play like a complete coward hiding in a stairwell. It's boring.
Yeah. Yeah, my least favorite level in Half-Life 2 was Ravenholm, I think, because it would have been my... Yeah?
Ravenholm is fantastic, yes. It's probably the best, yeah.
That was my least favorite because I don't know why, but like it would have been my favorite otherwise, but there was just something off about it that I didn't like. It's the most weird thing. I was like,
the only problem I can think someone having with it is if they don't want to use the gravity gun, because they deliberately make it so there's very little ammo in Ravenholm, so you have to rely on the gravity gun.
I don't know. I remember. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
The thing I remember having a gripe about overall is just like I remember having the freaking like the circular saws. I remember them being freaking like very beneficial to use against the zombies. And I just remember that they were in like very badly placed in my opinion. But I don't freaking remember. It was like freaking it was like 12 years ago that I watched that playthrough. So. So it's been a while. Continue.
The final level is it's a weird victory lap level, and it's kind of neat at first, but it drags on a bit. It goes on longer than it needs to. Victory lap is supposed to be kind of short and sweet, just brutalizing the enemy. And it's like, hey, look at how cool you are now, right? Because it's the one where you get the super gravity gun that can pick up anything, including NPCs.
Oh, yeah.
And you just massacre your way through all the fucking Combine forces in the Citadel. And the ending is very cool, and it's very neat, and it's a lot of world building. With that said, man, it must have sucked when Half-Life 2 came out, because that ending. Do you remember how Half-Life 2 ends, Addy?
Nope.
You break the reactor that's powering the Citadel to stop Breen from teleporting away to the dimension of the Combine administrator things, which starts a nuclear dark matter, whatever, explosion. And right as it's about to kill you and Alex, G-Man pops in and is like, yes, you've done very well. You've done very well again, Gordon. And I'm going to put you on ice again. Bye. Oh, also fuck Alex. And like the ending is just, G-Man just takes Gordon, but it's assumed that Alex and Eli and Mossman and everyone else fucking dies.
Uh-huh.
And that's, which is like, in Half-Life 1, having G-Man zip Gordon away was not a problem, because like we didn't care that much for the people at Black Mesa. We didn't care that much for what happens. Half-Life 2, that's a fucking kick in the balls. Because like the story actually matters in Half-Life 2,
Yeah.
And it's fine for us now, because Episode 1 came out, and Episode 1 shows that rather than getting put on ice, the Vortigaunts step in and stop G-Man from doing it. But man, for the year between Half-Life 2 and Episode 1's release, that must have fucking sucked. Anyways, it's still a good game. Honestly, while Half-Life 2 is by far more technically impressive than Half-Life 1, I would say that in terms of overall game design, Half-Life 1 is better than Half-Life 2. That may be a controversial take, but I'm willing to make it. I wouldn't be able to pick which has more unique visual design though. Because Half-Life 1 has very, not terribly unique monsters, but it's grotesque, and it's got this very great, dark, grim aesthetic about Black Mesa, where, Black Mesa is fucking scarier than the aliens most of the time, right? Black Mesa feels wrong to exist, but it's the kind of wrong that actually exists in our world. Of the government doing shit it shouldn't, right?
I don't know, I'm not American.
Yeah. Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 is fantastic for just crazy, weird, out there, alien, cyberpunk, sci-fi aesthetic. And it's got this very unique aesthetic that has only really ever been imitated by Dishonored. And you'll notice Half-Life 2 and Dishonored have the exact same art director, Victor Antonov. And I always thought it was weird. Man, why is it that everything, all the tech in Dishonored looks exactly like the fucking Combine technology in Half-Life 2? Because it was made by the same fucking dude. Makes a lot of sense, don't it?
Yep.
Did you ever notice that?
Not really, but then I never really looked at the combine and stuff like that because I just, I'm not the biggest fan of that art style to begin with, so...
I think it works very well for a alien authoritarian state. With that said, I am hoping that whenever Half-Life 3 rolls around, since they're now kind of starting to really double down on G-Man as the antagonist, I'm hoping that the Combine either goes away or we start to see the real Combine, right? Yeah. Because the Combine we've seen throughout Half-Life 2 in the episodes isn't the real Combine, it's like the human Combine under Dr. Breen,
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we get to see, more weird, crazy, grotesque shit, like the floating slugs.
I'm hoping they're just actual Combines. Combine harvesters.
Well, that would explain why that one sucked Eli's brain out. Also,
you boot up Half-Life 3 and it's actually Farming Simulator.
Oh no! But instead of crops, it's just people's brains.
Yeah.
I think we just summarized Destroy All Humans. Oh man. Oh, I guess I should say I've been trying to scratch that Team Fortress 2 itch against bots, but boy, is it just not the same. What I will say is they accurately simulate some parts of human players, which is to say the worst fucking parts. The fuckers will not get on the objective. Get on the fucking point. Get on the fucking payload cart. Fuck's sakes. Oh, and oh my god, another thing they perfectly simulate about real people. They have no fucking clue how to deal with engineer sentries. Okay, so I gotta explain this to Pink. This is part of why I want Pink to play TF2 with us one day. Is that Overwatch is Blizzard's ripoff of Team Fortress 2. I've explained this before, right?
Right.
Overwatch is just Team Fortress 2 if you make it, a bit more MOBA styled. And the engineer is Torbjorn, but stronger. Imagine if Torbjorn couldn't just put down a sentry, but Torbjorn could level up that sentry so it have double the firing power and also occasionally shoots rockets.
Ooh.
And Torbjorn can also put down an infinite ammo and health dispenser. And Torbjorn can also put down Symmetra's teleporter.
Oh.
So that's the engineer. And yeah, for new players, that guy is fucking terrifying. And yeah, for experienced players, nothing. When I was in my prime of TF2 days, which boy, I'm fucking rusty now, I gotta say. But when I was in my prime of TF2 days, I could take on an engineer with any class. But boy, the great thing about playing engineer was, wow, anyone who is not playing Demo Man has no chance against me.
Yeah, I remember when we played against each other. You went with engineer and then tried to set up a sentry and then actually level it up, and I was with the sniper, and it didn't turn out well for either of us because I eventually got shot by your sentry, but before then I shot you in the head 4 times.
Yep. Oh, I was being an arrogant asshole there. See, that's the thing about playing a game that you used to be good at, but you're rusty at. Is you go at it like, oh man, I'm so good at this game. Watch this, and you fucking die and look like an asshole. But either which way, man, we got it. Like, for you to have loved Overwatch as much as you did, and that game to have turned into what it did, I can't guarantee you'd like TF2 because it is different from Overwatch in some pretty meaningful ways. But I at least got to get you to try it, man. And by the way, yeah, pretty well. Like, I'm trying to think because like several of the characters in that game are just straight up ripoffs of TF2 characters. Widowmaker is just a straight up ripoff of the sniper. Pharah is just the soldier with the ability to fly. Like it goes on. It was pretty nuts to try at the time. I wish Overwatch had continued being good. You know?
Don't we all?
Because like playing TF2, I'm like, man, this game's good. I wish I could also play Overwatch. Let me tell you, the really awesome thing about TF2, none of the classes are named after like sexual harassment fiends. That's the craziest thing, you know?
Isn't McCree getting renamed now? I think McCree's getting renamed, yeah.
They've announced they're renaming McCree, yes.
Well, did they say what his name will be?
No. It's supposed to be a surprise.
his name will be Irkum.
Dawn Cowboy. I think they said they're going to reveal it during the next story arc because they're planning to integrate it into the story that he's changing his name. It'd be funny if it was just straight up like I looked into an alternate world and I'm.
Man, the things we have to do to get lore in this game.
That's his
what
new
the
name.
heck?
Did you say Vor?
Lore. He said lore.
Lore. Okay. I was like, where did that come in?
Man, the thing is, we have to get into this war. I need to pay all of this money for the source filmmaker people to make me war. When is McCree eating freaking Diva?
That's his new ult. He just does the fucking reptile fatality to someone.
No, McCree's new ult. He's a Kirby suck. But he still says it's high noon.
Oh god.
Oh, that was a suggestion that I actually liked. I saw somewhere that someone suggested that McCree should be renamed to High Noon, so that when he does his ult, he's just announcing his presence. It's High Noon.
My god. Oh man, that's some stupid bullshit right there, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think we can call that a podcast, eh? You want to say bye? I'm lightheaded.
Bye.